Hello everyone and welcome to Come Paint With Me, where I want you to come paint with me. Today we are going to be doing a simple painting. This is what it is going to look like in the end. So it's a moon with some branches going across like we're looking up at the night sky. Painting is a very therapeutic process. Not only are you working on grip strength from gripping your pencil, you are working on visual scanning and making sure you're looking at everything in front of you, but it also helps you relax and calm your mind after a stressful day or week. It also gives you a way to express yourself. When you paint, it's up to the artist how they want it to look. If you have never painted before, that is okay. I am not the best painter, but it's all about just expressing yourself and having some fun. So what you will need today is 6 different paints. I put mine all out on this little wheel. So we have pink, white, black, brown, navy blue, and light blue. If you want to know the specific paint I used, it's called Craft Smart. It was just 79 cents at Michael's, so it's pretty cheap. And then you will need a cup of water. As you can see, this is my painting cup. There's a bunch of paint in it. And then some various size brushes, and I do recommend having a sponge. This one is just a black one on a stick, or there are some just triangle sponges. This just helps with blending a little bit better, and it's what I prefer to use. Then you will also need a paper towel, and then I have a butter knife for when I want to mix paint. I can use the butter knife to put this in the center of the tray and mix to the color that I want. So with painting, some of the tools you use have pretty thin handles. And I know that gripping them is something that you may have difficulty with. If you do, I have a few modifications that you can use to make the handles a bit thicker. They do have some paintbrushes that have a thicker handle, but generally they have a thicker tip as well. So that doesn't really help you when you're trying to do fine details and you need a thinner tip on the paintbrush. So one of the modifications you can do is taking some paper towel and your paintbrush, and you can roll your paintbrush in the paper towel. You can use as much or as little paper towel as you need. So now, as you can see, it has a thicker handle, and then I have some masking tape here. You can just rip some of that off, tape it around. Let me grab another piece, and you can wrap it. You want to make sure you wrap this bottom bit tight around your paintbrush because you don't want your paintbrush moving very much. So there. As you can see, I now have a thinner paintbrush with a thicker handle, making it easier to grab. However you want to grasp it, it's easier now. If you don't want to use paper towel, you can also use a normal washcloth. So you would do the same thing, lay your paintbrush down, roll the washcloth up around your paintbrush. Again, take masking tape. It might help to have some pieces already ripped off available so you don't have to mess with it like I have to. So roll it up as tight as you can and secure it with some masking tape, and this creates a thick handle as well. So you can paint with a thinner tip, thicker handle. If you use a washcloth, it does tend to be thicker than the paper towel. You can use a lot of paper towel to make yours thick like this, but if you want a super thick candle, go ahead and use a washcloth. Now, these canvases can tend to slide around a lot. So they do make non-skid mats you can use. I do not have one, but I have this washcloth, this hand towel that I'm going to use to show you how it would work. So you would move your canvas, lay your non-skid mat out, and place your canvas on it. Now my canvas doesn't move as easy as it does on here. If you don't have a non-skid mat either, you can see how the canvas doesn't really skid on this towel as well, but the towel itself moves. You can also take masking tape or whatever tape you have and tape your towel down. So if you go here and tape the corners, of your towel. Now you can see the towel doesn't move and my canvas doesn't slide as easy. So those are some simple modifications you can use to build up the handle and prevent your canvas from sliding. I today am not going to be using this towel underneath, but I just wanted to show you in case you wanted to use it. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. What I'm going to do first is I'm going to take a pencil, and in the center of my canvas I'm going to draw a big circle. So here is a circle you can kind of see in the middle. It doesn't have to be perfect. This just gives me a general idea of where my moon is going to be. So I am going to start by taking the sponge and dipping it into this dark navy blue color. And I'm going to paint it on into these outer corners of the canvas and kind of push it inward just a little, but really focusing it on the outer corners. Okay, so this is what my canvas looks like. As you can see, I did cover the majority of it in that dark blue, but it is towards the outside edges of my canvas. So next what I'm going to do, using that same brush, I'm going to take a little bit of the black and keep it solely in the corners. Since those are the areas furthest away from our moon, they will look the darkest, and that's what we want. So just take a little bit of black, push it in the edges. Okay, so this is what my canvas is looking like. You can see the outside is darker than the inside because I added the black there. So now what we're gonna do is I'm gonna take my sponge, dip it in my water just to get that black out. And then I'm gonna push it onto my paper towel to get most of that color out. And I am going to go back into that dark blue and go over what we just painted to blend it a little bit better. Okay, so that's what my canvas is looking like. Now what I'm gonna do is do circular motions around the edges to help it look like the light is coming out from the moon. It kind of has that circular effect, so that's what we're going for. Okay, so I'm gonna put that into my water, and I'm gonna take one of these small yellow sponges I have, and I'm going to go into the light blue and focus it around the inside part here, because that will be the lightest. So this is what my canvas is looking like. Now I am going to take that black sponge again out of my water and dry it off on my paper towel, and drop my paper towel on my painting. There's still gonna be some blue in it, but that's okay. And I'm gonna take this and work it around this edge to blend those edges in. Get paint on the inside of your circle, which I did a little bit, that's okay. That was just a general idea of where our moon will be, so if it mixes, that's okay. Okay, so that is what my canvas is looking like. I'm now gonna take a little bit more of that dark blue and blend a little bit better. Dark blue paint. Okay, I'm going to put my brush back in my water. This is what my painting is looking like right now. I'm pretty happy with it so far. So next we're gonna move on to the moon. I'm going to take this wide brush that I have, and I'm going to take white, which I have here, and brush it on the inside of the moon. And I know what you're thinking, Shay, my canvas is white. Do I really have to paint it white? And I know it seems silly, but it helps with the blending and it makes your painting look more finished, whereas if you just left the canvas white. So I have the inside painted white, and now I'm gonna take some white and just blend it with the edge where the blue meets the white. That way if there were any hard or rough brush strokes, I'm blending them out so they look softer, and it also gives that illuminating look. I'm gonna put my paintbrush in my water. This is what it looks like so far. So you can still see where my pencil lines are. There, we're gonna add a little bit of definition to our moon. So I'm going to take a small brush, and in the center of my tray, I'm going to take mostly white. This is where you could use a butter knife if you wanted to scoop the paint out and into your tray. If you don't have one of these, you can also use a paper plate or paper towel to do this. So now that I have my white, I'm going to take just a tiny bit of black and start to work that into the white. I'm trying to make a very light gray color. A little bit more black, that might be too much. If you ever add too much black, just add more white. So you probably can't see too well on camera, but it is just a very light gray color. It's mostly white, but there is a little bit of black in there, giving it a gray hue. So I'm gonna take it and we're gonna paint this on that line we drew in pencil earlier. So I'm painting and then kind of brushing it inwards just a little bit. So this is what mine looks like. Now, using my brush, I'm just gonna kind of blend backwards and inwards. I don't want any harsh lines, so I'm taking the gray, blending it into the blue a little bit. Okay, so I'm putting this brush back into my water, and with a little bit of a thicker brush, but still not too thick, I'm gonna take plain white, so not the gray, but the white, and blend the edge here between the gray and the blue. Now, this is what it looks like. Taking a dry sponge, there's no paint on it. I'm just gonna run it in circular motions over that line to blend a little bit more. So that is what that looks like. Now, I'm not completely happy with the gray color that I have as the moon, so I'm actually going to take another thin brush and blend a little bit more black into the color I had already made, so that I'm making a little bit of a darker gray. So you can see I made it a bit darker, and I'm just gonna go around the very outside with this darker gray. Go around the outside of the moon I've created. Okay, so I'm gonna put my brush back into the water, and this is what it is looking like. I am pretty happy with that. So now we are going to paint our branches. So I'm going to take this brown color and a very thin brush. Sorry, I have paint all over my hands. I'm gonna dip it in the brown, and then starting from the outside edge, wherever you want it to be, you're just gonna draw a line inward and into your moon. You can make it straight, you can make it wavy, however you want your branch to look, it's all up to you. What it looks like. Now this outside edge I'm going to make a little bit thicker since it should be closer to the trunk of the tree. So this is what mine looks like. I'll hold it right side up for you. And now coming off of this bottom here, I'm going to add another little branch. So that is what mine looks like. Now I'm going to do one coming in from this side a bit higher. Now, similarly to how I added this bottom branch, I'm going to, at the highest part of my branch here, oops, I just touched my canvas, I'm going to have a branch come out of the top. Just gonna add that little dot I accidentally made into my painting. That is one of the fun parts about painting. If you mess up, you can just make it look like it's meant to be there. Okay. I'm gonna put my brush into my water. This is what my painting looks like. Now I'm going to add little petals, like I have a cherry blossom tree or some other type of tree that blooms. I'm not for sure what that might be, but I'm gonna take this pink, a thin brush, and dip into the pink, and then just make little dots along the branches. So you can see it's looking like that. You can add as many or as few as you would like in any type of pattern. If you don't want them, you don't need them. If you want to do leaves instead of little petals, you can do that too. This is what my first branch looks like. Now I'm going to do the other one. Okay, I am pretty happy with that. So this is my finished painting. I know it's not perfect or anything amazing, but I had a lot of fun making it, and it's something that I made myself, so it makes me like it even more. I hope you guys had fun making your painting, and maybe this is something you realize that you like to do and you can do it more. I hope you guys have a great day and keep on painting. Strength and should I show it?
No.
Any therapeutic things, benefits you have. They want it to look, so yes. This Zoe.